We've officially entered Q4, and this is where things begin to accelerate. The Fed has cut rates, liquidity will start to flow back, and risk on assets are heating up. For crypto, that means one thing. We're on the edge of what could be the most explosive altcoin season yet. This isn't just any year, it's a post-halving year. The exact point in the cycle where momentum shifts. Historically, Bitcoin makes the first move, pushing to new all-time highs. Dominance peaks, and then the capital rotates first into Ethereum, but then into large caps and eventually into mid and low caps. That cycle has played out again and again, and right now, it's looking like we may repeat the same pattern. As I record this video, Bitcoin has just broke its all-time highs. And October, time and time again, has been a huge month for Bitcoin dominance. It's the moment where Bitcoin asserts itself, builds that market confidence again, and it sets the stage for money to flow into alts. Now, let me be clear, this cycle could still surprise us. It's the key confirmations that I'm watching for this month that if they don't happen, then we need to revisit everything, and I'll be the first one to say it. In this market, you must be able to quickly adapt to changes. In this video, I'm going to walk you through exactly what needs to happen for altcoin season to truly begin, the signals and the charts that I'm tracking, and the levels that separate the hype from the reality. Every cycle has its own leader. In 2017, it was ICOs. In 2021, it was DeFi, NFTs, and memes that created millionaires. And in 2025, the stage is set for something bigger. AI, real-world assets, layer 2s, gaming, or it even can be the next wave of memes that can run 50x or 100x. This is why planning and conviction matter. Those who position themselves early are about to experience the kind of asymmetric opportunities that come once every 4 years in crypto. So here is what we will be covering in today's video. First, let's talk about Bitcoin dominance and market cycles, the hidden patterns that repeat every cycle, and how they secretly dictate when altcoins explode. Then we'll talk about the confluence and confirmation. One signal isn't enough. Learn what I'm watching to know when the market is about to move. Then we'll look at historical Bitcoin and Ether returns. Look, numbers don't lie. What past post-halving Octobers and Novembers reveal about the next big move. Then we'll look at retail interest and macro factors, the surprising forces behind altcoin really going parabolic that most crypto investors overlook. Then we'll talk about positioning for a 10x strategy, how to position your portfolio for maximum upside, and why most people get it wrong. Quick disclaimer, none of this is financial advice. And hey, this video took a ton of work to put together, so if you find any value here, do me a favor and please hit that like button. It really does help more than you know, and it tells the algorithm that you enjoy content like this. So the question isn't whether altcoin season is coming. The question is, are you ready for the final stage? As of right now, Bitcoin dominance is sitting just under 59%. We want to see Bitcoin dominance push back above 60% this October if we want a true altcoin season to begin. Historically, October has been one of the strongest months for Bitcoin dominance, typically peaking here before liquidity rotates into altcoins. This is why October is such a critical month for crypto. If we don't see dominance break above that 60% level, we may need to prepare for a different type of alt season, either a new cycle structure altogether or simply a delayed rotation. For now, everything is still on track. If we look back at September, in the previous cycle, Bitcoin dominance bottomed out before reversing higher in October. This past September played out almost identically. We found our bottom on September 8th, and we are now showing signs of a reversal just like before. If the patterns continue, Bitcoin dominance should peak sometime in October or November. After that, we'd expect dominance to fall and ETH alongside other alts to start outperforming Bitcoin. Now, when we look at our coin capital wave indicator, which you can find linked in the description below, you'll notice something very interesting. Right now, Bitcoin dominance is oversold, and the lime green wave is now shifting into dark green, signaling a potential reversal to the upside. You also see the green arrow beneath the wave with the VWAP pulling toward the equilibrium, confirming that momentum may be turning in our favor. This is the setup that I'm watching for closely. Okay, now that we know what Bitcoin dominance is doing, we need confluence. Confluence means multiple signals or indicators or factors lining up in the same direction to strengthen the probability of that trade setup. Think of it like this. One signal might give you an idea, but confluence gives you confirmation. Okay, so let's look for confluence. Let's first take a look at Bitcoin quarterly returns. I know this is an altcoin season video, but we need to understand what Bitcoin is doing, or we can't accurately predict what altcoins are going to do next. Historically, October and November, we have seen some of the strongest months in Bitcoin. October's average return is about 21.89%. In 2017, 2017, Bitcoin was up nearly 50% in October. In 2021, it gained around 40% in the same month. If we account for today's market structure with higher adoption and naturally more compressed price action, a realistic expectation could be around 30 to 35% return for October. This chart essentially confirms that post-halving years tend to be bullish during these months, giving us strong momentum heading into altcoin season. Now, the same story shows up when we look at ETH quarterly returns. Historically, November and sometimes December tend to be bullish months. Another interesting metric that I watch that you can track also is retail interest. One simple way to measure this is by looking at social metrics on X, or you could search Google Trends around crypto keywords. For example, page views on Bitcoin's Wikipedia page spiked massively in 2021, but right now views are relatively flat. This tells us that retail attention hasn't fully returned yet. If we compare this to Google Trends for terms like crypto, Bitcoin, or how to buy crypto, the graph is saying the same. Retail isn't fully here yet. Retail liquidity is critical because that's what drives parabolic moves. This is why, as I've mentioned in previous videos, it's really important to keep an eye on the macro indicators, including the Fed. The Fed did a rate cut in September, which was widely expected and is what we talked about on this channel. Looking ahead, the probability of another cut in October is 99%, and in December it's 91%. When we merge all these data points together, Bitcoin and ETH historical performance, retail interest, and macro conditions, the path is clear. We are likely heading into altcoin season within the next month or so. Now, when it comes to positioning for this move, the goal is obviously to make money and potentially 10x your investments. But remember, not all altcoins are created equal. If you want a real shot to 10x your gains, you need to have a disciplined strategy that combines research, timing, and risk management. Here's an example on how to allocate your positions for a run like this. For simplicity, let's use a $10,000 portfolio. Now, you can obviously adjust the percentages to fit your budget. So if you're starting with $1,000, then you can simply apply this rule to your own budget. You start by dividing your portfolio into 3 conviction buckets: high, medium, and high risk. Now, our high conviction bucket will be 40%. This is where you place your safer bets here, like layer 1s and layer 2 projects. This can be coins like Bitcoin, ETH, Sol, Hype, and BNB. Then you have your medium conviction bucket, which is also 40%. In this bucket, you can allocate promising DeFi altcoins or even larger cap memes with growth potential. This can be coins like Render, Aerodrome, Aave, or memes like Pepe or Pengu. Then you have your high risk bucket, which will be about 20% of your portfolio. Use this bucket for well-researched micro cap. That's 50 million to 300 million altcoins or meme coins that could 10x. In our example, that's $2,000 of the $10,000 portfolio. This can be coins like Superverse, Axelar, or Troll on Solana. I've shared many of the altcoins and meme coins that I'm personally invested in across my videos, so definitely check those out afterwards. They'll give you some ideas for building your own portfolio. But if you want to set yourself up for things like a true 10x run, there are a few key things that you need to keep in mind. First, timing is everything. Keep an eye on that Bitcoin dominance and the broader market cycles. If alts dip across the board in the coming weeks, that's normal. Watch the total 3 minus USDT BTC pair to spot when we're near the bottom, and that's when you can start DCing into your positions. Remember, altcoins explode when liquidity rotates from Bitcoin into alts, and I showed you how to do all of this in this video and others. Second, I always look for confluence when picking coins. That means stacking multiple layers of confirmation: technical, fundamental, and sentiment. Look for coins sitting on strong support levels or that are in oversold conditions. You can do this with the coin capital indicators that we have, paired with solid fundamentals like real use cases, a strong dev team, or an active community. Finally, layer on social indicators like social engagement, Google Trends, or any crypto native metrics. Now, when these signals align, your odds of catching big moves increase dramatically. That's why understanding the overall market flow is just as important as researching individual projects you choose to invest in. Finally, you have to set your targets and exits before you even enter the trade. Decide in advance your profit-taking levels: 2x, 5x, 10x, and moonbags, and consider scaling out rather than selling it all at once. This is the mindset and strategy that I use to position myself for these moves. If you follow it and stay disciplined, the potential upside can be huge. Unfortunately, most people get this wrong because they focus on the coins, not the strategy. They jump in too early or too late. They chase the hype or ignore the bigger picture. Most people also forget about portfolio discipline and exit plans. You need your high, medium, and high risk buckets, and you need to decide your targets before you even enter the trade. The bottom line line is that 10x gains aren't luck. They come from strategy, timing, and conviction. Look, altcoin season isn't coming. It's already at the doorstep. Bitcoin is showing signs of life. Dominance is ready to peak. And the macro environment may create the perfect storm on what could be the most explosive altcoin run we ever see. But honestly, opportunity favors the prepared. It favors those who study the charts and research and position with conviction. The 10x gains aren't handed out randomly. They go to the disciplined, the early movers, the ones that are willing to act while others wait on the sidelines. If you take one thing from this video, let it be this: timing, Confluence, and conviction are your keys. Watch Bitcoin dominance, track ETH and the alt performance. Layer on the macro and retail signals, then deploy strategically. And if you do this right, this season could rewrite your financial future. The clock is ticking, the charts are aligning, and the market is whispering it's your move. Are you ready to step into the final stage? Because this is altcoin season, the final stage. Don't just watch it happen, position yourself and own it. Comment below what altcoins or meme coins that you're interested in right now. And if you want to know exactly how I invest and research into meme coins before alt season arrives, watch this video here. I'll see you in the comments.